Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another decoupage project, but this time I am going to show you how to make cute little coasters just like these. Not only they are functional, but you can also customize them to match your personal style or home decor. So let's jump right in and take a quick look at the supplies you'll need. To make these coasters, you are going to need a tile. This one I picked up at the hardware store and it's 4x4. You are also going to need a napkin of your choice. I'll be using this one with the sea creatures. You'll also need some paint. I like to use this chalk paint, but any acrylic paint will do. You'll need Mod Podge to glue on the napkins and a little bit of gold paint for the edges to give it a nice finished look. To seal everything up, you'll need resin, you'll need a brush and a foam roller, and to protect the table, I'll be using these rubber cabinet bumpers. I will leave a list of all the supplies in the description box below, so you can easily find everything you need. The first step is to paint the tile white. You could use a roller, but I like to make sure I get paint into all those little crevices, so a brush works best for this step. I like to use chalk paint, but honestly, any white acrylic paint you have on hand will do just fine. Once the paint is applied, I like to go over it with a roller to help smooth everything out and get rid of those brush strokes. For a nice solid white base, you'll want to do 2 coats of paint. After your first coat has dried, go ahead and apply the second coat and let that dry completely. While my paint is drying, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the napkin. You could absolutely cover the entire tile with the napkin, but I'm going to cut out individual pieces so I can arrange them exactly how I want. I like to use scissors for this step, but you can also just tear out the image itself, or use a wet brush to outline the image and then carefully separate it. Once you have the images cut out, you'll need to separate the layers. You only want to keep the top layer of the napkin. If you struggle with separating the layers, just grab your Mod Podge and make your fingers a little bit tacky. Then place the napkin between your fingers and it should come apart nice and easily. Next, go ahead and arrange your napkin cutouts on the tile before gluing anything down. This way, you can move them around and play with the layout until you are happy with how everything looks. Once you are happy with your arrangement, go ahead and grab your Mod Podge and a brush, and we can start gluing the napkin down. Apply a thin layer of Mod Podge onto the tile, then carefully place your napkin on top. After that, lightly brush over it with a bit more Mod Podge to seal it in place. To smooth out any wrinkles, you can gently press it down with your fingers. Just be gentle here. You don't want the napkin to shift or smudge, which can happen easily since it's wet from the glue. Once all my tiles are done and the Mod Podge has fully dried, I'm going to paint the edges with a gold metallic paint. You can absolutely skip this step, but I just think it gives them a more elegant and finished look. There's just something about those painted edges that makes a difference. If you've been enjoying my videos, make sure to give them a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. I'm always happy to help and answer them. For the best results, I like to use 2 coats of paint. I am going to use a UV resin for the top coat. You can use a toothpick or a silicone brush to help evenly spread the resin out. I am being really careful here not to touch the resin, but it's definitely best to wear gloves for protection. I do have a few bubbles, so I'm going to use a small torch to pop those. I am going to repeat this process and apply the resin to all of my coasters, and then take them outside to let the resin cure. You could also use a UV light to harden the resin if you prefer. The last step is to add a protective layer so the back of the tile doesn't damage your table. For that, I'll be using these cabinet bumpers. These cabinet bumpers do have a sticky backing, but just to be safe, I'm going to add a little bit of E6000. I hope you enjoyed this project and that it gave you a little inspiration to create something of your own. The same technique works beautifully on so many things, like wine bottles, Easter eggs, pumpkins, even seashells. So don't be afraid to get creative with it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy crafting!